Leonardo DiCaprio is known as one of the greatest living actors of our generation and one of the greatest actors of all time, with an Academy Award under his belt and numerous movies and accolades. I have decided to watch all the important Leonardo DiCaprio movies ever. And that means Killers of the Flower Moon is where I have to start. I just finished watching this movie tonight. This is the longest movie I've ever seen in my life. The longest movie. And it's 3 hours and 30 minutes. Like, Martin Scorsese was not letting us go. He was not letting us leave that theater. But this is by far the best movie I have seen this year. I mean, there's been so many mediocre films. There's films that I like, but they just did not hit the spot. And this, like, transcended it. You know what I mean? Like, this was another historical portrayal that Leonardo does so well. I was watching him. His character is Ernest. I forgot his last name. But watching him, I could definitely see some Leo-isms. There's things he does that are just him. You know what I mean? But he was fantastic in this film. One of the writers said that this was the best film ever. I don't know if it's his best performance ever, but man, I mean, this is fantastic. This is definitely getting nominated for an Oscar. Most movies he does get nominated, but we know he's only won once. I don't know if he'll win because we have another great actor, Bradley Cooper, gonna be up for the same award, doing a great portrayal of Leonard Bernstein in Maestro coming up. But man, he plays this complicated character, and there's so many great performances in this movie. Robert De Niro, Lily Gladstone. There's so many intricacies that I'd like to go into, but I really want to focus on Leo because that's what the series is about. So yeah, let's get into Leo's performance in this. So Leonardo plays Ernest Buckhart, this very complicated man that, like, the whole time you're like, wait, Ernest, is he bad? He did that? So let's start off with the first, act of the movie, right? So he comes in, he comes in to see his uncle, to work for his uncle, and they're just chopping it up, and we notice that he is very, innocent in a way where he admits that he loves girls and he loves money. And you think of it as, just a typical man, it's not anything to worry about. And the way Leo plays him, you go with him, right? He's just like, yes, sir, and his uncle's like, man, don't call me sir, call me whatever his real name is, I forgot. But, he's very respectful and, just trying to make an honest living. That's what he portrays himself as. So you go with him on the ride. And then as time goes on, his uncle starts planting the seeds. The Osage, they have this money. And he's like, yes, sir, okay, it's good to know, I guess. Then he starts driving Molly, just drives her, being a respectful man. And then the uncle plants the seed that, she has a lot of money. She would be a great partner to be with, And then he starts flirting with her, and it's like, the whole time you're thinking, does he really love her? Did he really love her, right? We never question her love for him and her devotion to him, but did he really love her? Did he love the money? And it's a gray area. It's not black and white. And great movies have that gray area, where you have to, go home and think about it, dang, did he really love her? What was he thinking? I think when the uncle dropped that in his head, he saw her for what she was, but he also was like, wow, this is a good idea. This will be good, but it wouldn't be a bad idea, how do I explain it? Yeah, he dropped it in his head, and that's all he could think about. That's what I think happened. I don't think it was all fake, obviously. Like, I think there was a love for her, but then he starts becoming complicit in these murders of her older sisters, to where they're closer and closer of getting the rights to the land. Ernest and Lily, nowadays I really love romance movies that, like, there's stuff going on outside the romance. Everyone loves a good, forbidden romance thing, but that's not what this was. It was a romance in spite of, everything that's going on, and you really believe it, and you believe his love for her, but his greed becomes so consuming. But before his greed becomes consuming, and that's in the second act. In the first act, he's very, like, protective of her. He's very respectful. You see him be a husband, you know what I mean? Not quite knowing everything that's going on, but they have this, like, quiet connection, He's like, his uncle's like, don't talk, like, don't talk too much, because she knows what's going on, you don't need to talk that much. But he can't help it, Like, that's just his personality. And it works. Like, she's calm, and she sees things for what it is, and but he is like, I still want to be the protector and the provider and things like that. So he's still, for the most of the first act, the killings are going on throughout the whole movie, and he's kind of aware of it. He does some thievery stuff. Like, I have to go back and really see, because you get to a point where you get so numb to, like, the killings and the thievery and all that stuff, because it happens so quick. And I guess that's, what Martin Scorsese wanted to be like. One family is just eating dinner while another Osage is just getting killed random in the street, and then there's no one says anything about it, but, like, we need to see those faces, so it is a movie you gotta watch again. But yeah, he starts getting into, like, little thievery things and stuff like that, but he's never really doing the bad stuff, he's really settling in, and it is a little bit of a forbidden romance to be like, why would you, as an Osage woman, why would you fall in love with a white man, and she was with a previous Osage, and we don't know what happened. They're kind of like willy-nilly on that. They're kind of gray area on that, but I don't know why she fell in love with him. I mean, he was good looking, he was nice to her, stuff like that, but there is kind of a scene where all the girls are like, he just wants our money, like, why are you even entertaining him? And she's like, of course he wants our money, but, like, his uncle wants our money. So she looks at the uncle as, like, the greedy man. She's like, he's not, he's just complicit, which is how we feel about him in the beginning. And he does that very well, to where he takes us on this journey of, like, Ernest is, like, innocent, but he's not. And even when he starts creeping into this bad track, we know it's because he's manipulated by his uncle. As time goes on, he starts getting more and more in it. I mean, this is almost like a gang, like, you just slip further and further in it. Like, once you're in it, it's really hard to get out. And as tragedies happen, her older sisters die, so it's like the dad died, so the mom has the rights to the land, and the older sister, and then and Molly is the third sister out of 4, so, like, it's a lot of, but one of the older sisters gets killed, and it's, like, tragic, and there's a lot of grief in this. There's a lot of tragedy because of the Osage are getting killed, and we see Molly, his wife, go through all this grief, but he's there for her. She also has diabetes, so she's sick, and they don't believe in insulin. Like, they don't know about insulin until a little later in the movie, and, like, that's when it was a new thing. This is the 1920s. So there really isn't any cure, and the insulin, she's one of 5 people in the world who start taking it. But before that, I mean, he's like with her through everything. He's a good husband. He's devoted. He's faithful. Then, one of the older sister dies, and then the mom dies off. And she lets Molly know before she dies, like, you all married these white men. Like, I don't trust them. And, there's kind of a line it hits harder in the trailer, but it's smaller in the movie. But, like, can you name all the wolves in this picture? And it's like, all of them are wolves. And the mom knows this. She knows something's up with all these white men. So he gets closer and closer to this, like, jackpot money, Mom dies. One of the older sister dies. All they need is one more sister to die for them to get all the rights. And he is complicit in this bombing of the sister. What's crazy about this is that him and the uncle, like, they know they're in it, and they see the people that they claim to love, like, hurting, and they know they're the reason why they did it, but they're like, man, this hurts me too, like, and they really believe themselves, like, they love these people, they claim to love these people, they're killing them because they believe that, like, they don't deserve the land because they were born into it, and it's like, well, we work hard, so we're superior to you, so we can kill you and get the land. We're smarter. It's crazy how him and his uncle think, and how the uncle's thinking starts trickling down to him, and it's like, do you want this money or not? Do you want this inheritance or not? We're laughing in the theater because we're like, wow, this is crazy, but they're really just like, no, how can I get money? Like, this is the greed. The most heartbreaking part, back to Leo, the most heartbreaking parts, though, are literally when he lies to Molly about it. He hears that Molly was once married to one of these Osage guys, and he's like, is there any chance that he will get any of the land, if something happens? He kills him. He has him killed. And she looks him dead in the face, and she's like, remember the uncle said, like, she's quiet, but they know exactly what's going on. She looks him dead in the face, and she's like, did he commit suicide or was he murdered? And he's like, I don't know. The picture I have right up now is of him being innocent. She knows he's lying, and she asks him she asks him 3 times, giving him chance after chance after chance to tell her the freaking truth, and he doesn't. And he's like, I don't know, like, he has a bad, guilty face. And how do you act that? How do you act guilty when you think you're not guilty? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a fantastic performance. But she continues to love this man and stay devoted. It gets to a head where he becomes a villain, like, he's just unsatiable with the kills, what he has to do to get the money, and to be in control. And it comes to a head when he gives her insulin, but the uncle's like, she goes to Washington DC to, like, get the cops and be like, something is going on, like, all these Osage people are dying and nothing's happened about it. And they don't want her to sound the alarm, obviously, so they're like, dude, put this, like, sedative thing in her insulin to where she won't have enough energy to talk about this and get everyone riled up. And he's literally like, okay, it's just a sedative, like, it'll just keep her calm. That's what they tell him. But she's literally getting sicker and sicker. This man gives his wife, like, poison. He literally starts poisoning his wife. He's complicit in killing her, basically. And she gets sicker and sicker, and as he grows more powerful and powerful and more greedy, it's just like, wow. And the whole time, I don't know if it's because it's Leo, if it's because he was so innocent, his character was so innocent in the beginning, you want to believe that, like, you feel bad for him, like, there was empathy I felt for him because of his uncle, and because, like, I don't know why I felt empathy for him, but I was just like, I kept telling myself, like, he's bad, but, like, It's Ernest. Like, what? He's good, he's bad, he's confused. Like, no, like, he did such bad things. And it's like, is it in the name of protecting her, or is it in the name of like getting money for him? And I don't even think he knows. I just came to that conclusion. He doesn't even know if it's for her, or if what he loves more. He's being pulled like this the whole time, and until the end. She's like, what's happening? And he's like, I didn't do anything wrong, they're just doing some cautionary things, because the Washington DC police, FBI people actually do come down to investigate. And he's like, don't worry about it. And to the end, he's lying. Him and his uncle are in jail, and he realized he needs to testify against his uncle. And one of the more memorable moments was like him telling his uncle, like, like, I have to take you in. No, I have to just testify against you. And he's like, the Osage people love me, blah blah blah. And he's like, no. Like, that was a good moment. That was a good acting moment. It was like, no, like, I have to testify against you. Like, you force us to do all these things, you're behind all this. And then the uncle turns around and he goes, I love you, son. And he looks at him like, no. And another theme of this is how love is a weapon. He injects that poison basically into Molly for months and months, because she trusts him so much. She's like, I won't let anyone else, I won't let any of the doctors do this, like any of the white doctors, because I don't trust them. They're very spiritual, and they don't do that type of stuff. So she trusted him for so long, and I let him inject it to her, even though she was sick, not knowing what was going on. And it shows how love was a weapon in this thing. And even with the Osage community, the uncle was friends with the head of the Osage community. Like, they were friends, and they still don't, and some of them still don't even believe that he did anything wrong. There's so many chances that Molly gave him to stand up and do the right thing and tell her the truth, because she stood by him this whole time. And she finally gets to the point where she's almost dying. They take her to a medical hospital and actually give her the correct medicine, and she gets better while he's in jail. And he's like, I'm spoiling the end, so watch it, right? I'm spoiling the end, but he finally gets what he deserves. Because I'm like, did she stay with him? Like, what happened? And they give us that resolution. A lot of movies don't. These artsy movies do not give you resolution at all. But, she's like, she's a lot better. And he's like, how are the kids? Blah, blah, blah. And she's like, what was in the insulin? Like, what were you giving me? And he's like, insulin. And she gave him another chance. She asked him again. She was like, what were you giving me? And he like, insulin. She gets up and walks away. I was like, that's like 3 hours and 20 minutes into that film, okay? You don't know what's gonna happen. You don't know how these movies are gonna end. And she leaves him. They get divorced, all that stuff, because it's like, you were gonna kill my family, but you let your uncle trick you into doing so much wrong that you don't even know the difference between right and wrong. So it's like, there's so much that he did. This movie is fantastic, but this is one of his better roles. I mean, the way he immersed himself, he was really earnest. He really went in on this one. He did a great job with this. And yeah, that's my review. Thank you for watching and listening. Really passionate about this. I love this. I'm gonna enjoy this series. And it's amazing that into his 50s or 49 or whatever, he's still one of the best actors, and he's still doing these amazing things. So peace, blessings, love you guys. Thank you for listening and watching, and I'll see y'all soon.